What is up, everybody? This is Edward back with another video, another episode of Everybody Hates Black Men. I am your host, Edward Anderson. Shout out to the guy that I'm posting in the screenshot here because I'm forgetting who wanted me to do this video, even though I just watched the email. But we're going to talk about it. We're talking Meechee. Now, to be fair, I don't listen to Meechee. I know she's someone that came out of, I guess she was a part of Boyce Watkins' camp that went off on Boyce Watkins because of domains. And quite frankly, I agree with why she went off. So let me just say that here, because that is definitely some dubious business practices that Boyce was engaging in, taking her domains and all of that, trying to take ownership of her name. It's not just about capitalism. It's also about applying a certain code of honor. And you don't build long-term relationships doing goofy stuff like that. So let me say that is to the extent that I really have looked into Meechee. I know she is mixed, which, you know, I'm light skinned, so it doesn't matter. But the point is, somebody sent me this video, and I'll link the original video in the description so you all get context. But somebody sent me this video about her talking about she is replying to her people that listen to her. They got upset about her, I guess, you know, denigrating Martin Luther King under the guise of we shouldn't integrate it, and because he was the leader of integration, that I'm gonna throw dirt on his name because of that. And I'm about to attack that really quick. So yeah. But if you are new here, and if you are new to this video, I appreciate you clicking on the link, checking out what I have to say, check in with a like, check out with a comment, whether you agree or disagree with what I'm saying. And make sure you all hit that subscribe button and the notification bell, where I go live very often, every day, if not every other day, if not every day, and which I'm a lot rawer than I am on these videos. And we go through videos where, you know, we discuss various topics, trending videos, things that are rotated around black culture, because black culture is not talked about, black men in general, and, you know, social commentary. So make sure you all hit that subscribe button and click on the links in the description, where it's always a bunch of good stuff, like a Discord, like my Patreon, and other stuff as well. So with that being said, let's get started. So we're talking Meechee. Yeah, so I'm listening to this video, and Meechee is talking about various things, like I said before, about why we shouldn't integrate it and understand. So here's a couple of things to really dive into that. She's giving examples like schools, education, various things that we did better under integration, which Malcolm X was more team don't integrate. Martin Luther King was team integrate. And understand that one of the reasons, this is what doesn't get said. Remember, we're coming out of Jim Crow. We didn't have, everything was separate. See, where Meechee is like not really telling the whole truth about this is, Meechee is kind of acting like there was Black Wall Street and there was integration. And we chose to walk away from our towns and our great schools and all of these things in order to walk into integration because the white ice is colder. That's not true. She's skipping parts. A lot of our Black Wall Street, which wasn't every city, by the way, every town that black people were in, so let's stop acting like it was, but a lot of that stuff was destroyed. That was destroyed, whether you're talking about eminent domain, you're talking about a variety of things that happened, that was destroyed. So we didn't walk away from a Tulsa, Oklahoma, and or Richmond, Virginia, or Wilmington, North Carolina. We didn't walk away from these things into integration and be closer to white people. That's not true. That's a lie. She's purposely leaving out information in order to highlight that narrative, which is not correct. And this is not to say that there's no merit to having a conversation about integration, but we need to tell the whole truth and stop telling the points of the parts of it that's gonna make what our narrative is. Like, this is why I don't like that my truth BS. My truth is code for my narrative. Means you purposely leave things out to highlight a narrative, which means you're not really loyal to the truth. And so that's the first thing that needs to be really talked about. We came out of Jim Crow, and a big part of immigration was a new deal in order to not deal with Jim Crow, meaning we would have Voting Rights Act and stuff like that. All of that separate. See, the way she talks is she makes it sound like separate but equal was true. It wasn't. It wasn't equal. It wasn't anywhere close. And not only was it not equal, they weren't leaving us alone. The reality is, let's just keep it real. Integration wasn't really a choice. That's probably what I'm going to title the video. It wasn't a choice. Admixture is what eventually was going to happen to absorb black people into the greater white collective, whether they are underclass or whatever. This is what you see people of color in right now. People of color right now, which is what is happening when you look generation to generation. See, more people can more see it now with disease and the alphas, because the alphas have a completely different mentality than like the boomers do, or even the millennials do. They have less of a quote unquote pro-black kind of disposition because they've been messed with as far as their education. And so the argument is, well, if we wouldn't have integrated, we would have all these things. No, we wouldn't have. That stuff would have been the continuous status quo of us being terrorized. That's what would have happened, because we haven't been allowed to have these things. So to make the argument just a direct line of we would have this and we would have that, that's not accurate. That's not accurate. They had already dismantled our stuff. Yeah, at the time you still had the Negro Leagues and stuff like that, but they would have found a way to get rid of that too. They would have took pieces of things. They would have found a way to get those players one way or the other, just like how they deal with what they deal with in college sports. So they would have took the best of what we had to offer. It still would have been a brain drain. They would have paid these people more, or made it so you got paid more to come to their companies. They would have made that work. So this idea where it's just a constant through line of one or the other is not true. That's the first thing. The second thing is that Dr. Martin Luther King was a figurehead of a bigger movement. He was not a dictator. He was not a king. Dr. Martin Luther King was somebody that was put forward. And yeah, he was put forward of the leader, and he had significant influence, but it wasn't a what he says goes type thing. That's a misrepresentation of what the movement was. So these things were, Martin Luther King was just the head of he was the figurehead. And yeah, he had operational, yes, he had power. Nobody's saying that. He had power because he had influence, because he was the one that was basically the representative of what this movement was going to be, which is why what he said mattered. The people he talked to mattered. All these things mattered. But to act like it was just whatever he says goes is BS. So the decision was made by black people, the majority of black people as a whole, or at least the black influencers as a whole, to go this route. This wasn't something that black women were kicking and screaming on, despite the BS that they want to keep saying. This is not what that was. So it's this argument also that's laid that women were just dragged into this. And it's because men just wanted to be with a white woman. And Meechee X is a product. I don't know which one of her parents is Caucasian, but she's a product of that. So I get a lot of tragic mulatto vibes that mask as maximum ultra pro blackness, to the point where it's overcompensation. So because of that, throwing dirt on his name like that, because you can sit here and have the conversation about integration without throwing dirt on his name. That it's something deeper than that. you know, it's something deeper than that, where I don't know where it came from, where all these people want to sit here and talk greasy about Martin Luther King, Dr. Martin Luther King like that. I don't know where. A lot of y'all need to be really G-checked for that, because you all seem to not know how to have this conversation without being very hood radish about it. And I think there's a lot of class conversation with Martin Luther King as well. Like, it was the elites that drove us. It's a lot of deflecting and blaming. So that's as far as kind of what she was talking about. With that, me knocking that down, here's like really the other part of it too. First of all, integration could have definitely worked. Integration is not the source of everything. The degradation of black culture is the issue. The degradation of black culture is the issue. And one of the main things that nobody really wants to talk about is a big reason why black culture didn't degrade is because it couldn't degrade, because our survival was at stake. When you look at the Moynihan Report and you look at when black women were given access, by the way, right around the same time as civil rights was concluding, they were given access to government money, right? They were given access to government money. Let's keep it all the way real. Let's keep it all the way real. The big issue was black women basically broke the family. The issue is that they basically, what should have given to us as black people, were basically switched out to a gender move. You see it in the law, and black women basically paved the way to basically help that happen and help white women hide their hand. Even when you look at charts and you see the white wealth disparity, a lot of it starts then. You see the gap starting to really widen, and it really gets bad after the crack era. But you can see the trend line starting then, because white women basically ate up a lot of the civil rights benefits that black people were trying to get. This is like the dark secret nobody wants to talk about, because if people start digging into how that was possible, you start to find out black women helped make that possible. Because black women took the deal with white women, and they got played. So they don't really want to talk about it, because it's like you betrayed the black community and then you played yourself. Because then you have a serious argument about what black men owe black women. So because of that, black women basically go along with the con, because they don't see no benefit in really airing out women like Gloria Steinem, where that's another video I need to do. Because information about her, well, it's finally coming out, so it's official, not just rumor mill. But anyway, which, by the way, the CIA is not supposed to operate within United States domestic borders, by the way. Just FYI, that's not their purview. Now, we know they do it. That's not what they're supposed to do. That's what the FBI and stuff like that is for. You're not supposed to use the CIA on American citizens, especially when they're dealing in the United States. You're really not, unless it's some serious national security stuff. And see, they're very loose with that. But that's another video. Stay tuned for that video. But my point is, that's the issue. And I really get tired of black women trying to deflect the stuff they did to undercut their own community as a group. There's an ideology with black women, and here's the thing, with Meechee X being mixed, it's very clear what ideology she operates in. And so what they like to do is they like to blame others for stuff that they essentially did. And that's really not helping, because it really adds into the fog, the chaos. It really is not, it's against clarity of what happened and what needs to happen now. But see, people don't want to own up to that. So what we do is we do these little deflectionary tactics, and we start trying to rewrite history to make it like, at the end of the day, it's a black man's fault. We were led in it. No, you were not.
Freedom to black men, and if you look at this historically, if you do the research, freedom to black men has been tied to access to white women. I want y'all to understand that.
And I'm really getting tired. And like, for real. And so, really, because ultimately it was black men that built all that stuff she's talking about. That was mainly black men that built all of that. But we don't never get credit for that. So when we talk about we were educated and we were all of this and you know, we were just led into this, because that's that low key, you know, well, y'all just wanted to be with white women's. And I really get tired of that old, tired, like, because that's BS. Because it really hides the fact that black women try to get closer to white men in order to access whiteness. That's the real problem that nobody really wants to really address. Not as a group. So, I mean, you know, she can, look, I'm more akin to, you know, us having our own stuff. But the reason why we don't operate like that as a group is because black women aren't really all in. Most black, now this may not necessarily be Meechee X, but most black women are pro-black mainly for sexually political reasons. They are pro-black for two reasons. A, because they know that's the best deal they're gonna get is with black men, because they have no leverage anywhere else. And B, is to try to guilt trip black men into sexually committing to only black women, no matter, to create a sexual floor or a resource floor for black women, no matter what black women do. Black women can be as uncooperative and as subversive as possible, but because we're quote unquote pro-black, you're not supposed to deal with any other group or engage in any other culture. Basically, it's a way of keeping resources within the grasp of black women. That is the purpose of why black women gravitate towards pro-blackness. That is why pro-blacks have an absolute inability to talk about anything that resembles real talk. Because as soon as they start doing that, then black women start pulling back, because that's not what they're there for. They're not there for a better black community. They are there in order to manage black male resource, black male utility to the extent that they think is valuable, and black male labor, aka utility, whether it's sexual utility, economic utility, hard labor, physical labor utility. And they don't want that utility, because as far as they're concerned, that belongs to them to go anywhere else. That is the main reason most black women are pro-black. That's the main reason. They're not really pro-black because they just are called to it. That's the main reason. And most black men are in absolute denial of that. They cannot accept that as truth. They cannot accept that as fact. So we have this circular conversation that doesn't go anywhere. Because you have people that fundamentally cannot accept truth for what truth is and move on. They keep on wanting to relitigate stuff. It is a completely honest and worthwhile conversation to have about integration, because I think it helps black people really understand what happened. But this idea that integration in and of itself is like what really is causing everything. No, it's that black women are not really all in the black community. Well, what about the war on drug war? Y'all sexually incentivize black men to sell dope. You all sexually incentivized it. That's not to take black men off the hook, but you all are not victims. You all sexually incentivized that. And we are dealing with that culture till this very day. The same culture of women talk about, I want scammers, I want this, I want that, are the children of the same culture. That was saying that. So that's my opinion on that. So, you know, this video went a little bit longer than I wanted, but I wanted to give you all some thorough thoughts. So let me know, what you think in the comments. Do you know who Meechee X is? Are you a fan of Meechee X? Do you remember the Boyce Watkins situation with Meechee X? If you are a fan of Meechee X, tell me why she is right and I am wrong on this topic. If you know Meechee X, which one of her parents are the one that's the non-black group? You know, let me know. Let me know if you think we should have integrated. If not, why? Let me know if you agree with the fact that integration is not the real issue. The real issue is black people don't work together as a group, unlike other groups, and that's because black women basically are on some. They want to maintain their autonomy, and they don't want to submit to nothing. I mean, the problem is not even necessarily them not submitting. The problem is they don't want to be a part of team. They don't want to be on Team Black. So if they're going to be like that, they're basically going to be like rogue free agents. That's essentially how they operate. And they see black men, they don't really see black men as real people. They see black men as a utility. And if you're not useful, you might as well be dead. Now, black women cannot be useful and whatever, but they don't really see you as a real person. If you disagree with that, tell me why. So anyway, like I said, make sure you check it with a like, check out with a comment, click all the links and go through them. My link tree, my Discord, which goes through my Patreon. You can actually sign up to be a Patreon free member. I do a lot of stuff for free members, you know, to let you know what you can kind of look at in there. A little bit of AI, a little bit of memes, a little bit of, you know, exclusive videos. Sometimes videos that may get limited by YouTube, I'll release them early. There are exclusive videos that I do on Patreon. That Patreon allows me to like be a lot more franker about a lot of things and a variety of different topics, you know, where things that are not as serious. I'm planning on doing like the Naruto Unhinged series, some, you know, reactions. It allows me to do that on Patreon. Definitely appreciate it. If you want to be a paid member, you know, I currently don't have tiers, but eventually I will. So, I mean, you can get in there with just as little as $1 or $5. So, anyway, let me know what your thoughts are. And with that being said, this is Edward signing off. Peace.